Oh my God. I have got the greatest video, maybe maybe not the greatest video, but I've got one of the biggest breakthroughs, one of the greatest lessons. I haven't had many lessons. I've got some really good stuff in this video, but I've also got something that is just absolutely crushing to the video. But we're going to get into it. Let's get started. Woo! Hey everybody, welcome back to Golf Test Dummy, the channel where I use my game to help your game. And while I'm not 100% certain that you're starting from the same place, having the same frustrations that I've had in trying to get my golf swing on track and to be really just improved as much as possible to try and optimize myself, I can tell you that if you are having some of the same issues that I'm having, this may just work for you. And at the end of this particular video, I want to talk to you a little bit about, well, let's just save it for the end of the video, shall we? Let's get into this one. Now, the good news is that I just went for another lesson at Golftec today. I've been doing a review of Golftec lessons week after week after week, and I've been posting on my channel. If you haven't seen them, go back and watch them. Also, by the way, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel, hit the thumbs up, hit the bell, do all that stuff that helps optimize these. I am on the road to 10,000 subscribers. I would love to make it there by the end of the year. Help me do that. But I went for my lesson today, and I had what started off to be just not so great, okay? But around about maybe a third of the way into the lesson, there was this moment. There was this moment where my instructor, Jessica, you've seen her on the videos, she said, let's try something different. And we did, and boom, it was not instant magic, but it was pretty damn close to instant magic. And we were both just jumping for joy. I mean, we had a breakthrough moment, and it was so rewarding. It was so great because so often you put in all this work and you're not seeing the payout. And this time I had the payout, and that is the good news. I'm going to share some of that video with you here in a second. But the bad news is my microphones glitched. And the best lesson, and she was so excited and I was so excited, the best lesson with some of the greatest stuff, it has no audio. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play you a lot of the clips, and I'm going to narrate over it and tell you what's going on. I'll kind of talk you through, because we had some really good conversations about some swing theory and some things that maybe you need to hear that maybe will help your golf swing out. So I want you to stick around, but let me take another swing with this pitching wedge and just see if I can continue some of the magic that I found earlier today. Yep. There it is. Same draw, same high shot, same good quality strike, adding some distance back to my clubs that I've been missing for months. This is going to help push me through and really improve my game. So I did some warming up, as I always do. Went into a bay and just started warming up before the lesson. I usually try and get there a few minutes early. Last week, if you saw that video, if you haven't, that video is crucial to this video. Go back and watch last week's video on the driver. I had a very miserable day working on the driver. I had Jessica just befuddled. She was beside herself, and she said, it's hard for me to wrap my brain around what's happening. But we just chalked it up to being just kind of an off day for me. I was hitting slices, and not just slices, but push slices. This is not normal for me at all. Since I started playing golf years ago, I have never been a slicer of the ball. If anything, I started out the game hooking the golf ball too much and had to work it back to be a gentle draw or even a straight shot. I even have trouble hitting fades on command a lot of times. So a slice has never been my shot, but I had so many slices and so many weak shots. They were just coming up to be really short distances. And it was all due, obviously, to an open club face. But How did I get an open club face when I have never had that before? And so I started to think, maybe it's just part of what they say about golf lessons, where you're going to have your swing and your game and your strikes and your distances and all of that stuff is probably going to get worse before it gets better. But this has been going on for a while now, and it was just not quite happening. And before the lesson today, Jessica and I sat down and she said, listen, I've been teaching at Golftec for over 8 years. She coached NC State's women's golf team. And she said, never in this time have I had such a situation where I was struggling so bad to help somebody out and to figure it out. And I took that to mean that I am really broken. I am a really bad case, because this is a woman who really knows her stuff, man. She is an excellent coach. And the fact that even she couldn't help me, it doesn't speak to her coaching ability or her golf knowledge. It speaks to me being that far off. And I attribute that to this is 100% due to the fact that I blow up my golf swing just all the time for the sake of this channel. This channel gets its content because I put myself through the ringer, constantly changing my swing, doing new methods, new philosophies, new drills, and I never have an identity as a result of that. I've never had an identity, so it makes it really difficult, and that's probably what she's dealing with here, is trying to untangle this huge knot. So I had weak distances, they were slicing, and she started to look at my swing and she said, you're really coming under and from inside to out really bad, and you're really hitting up on the ball with driver. And if you've watched any YouTube golf videos, there are literally thousands of golf videos on YouTube where they are talking about, if you have weak distances and your ball is going off to the right, that you should swing more from the inside and you should try and hit up on the ball to create less spin, yada, yada, yada. You guys have probably all seen all of those videos. And I was taking some of that advice to try and gain distance, because my distance just wasn't there. My speed just wasn't there. So I continued to take this advice and try and swing more from the inside and swing more up on the golf ball. And she got it in her head. She said, listen, let's do this. Forget everything I've told you up to this point. And matter of fact, forget everything that you think is bad about a golf swing. And I want you, instead of trying to hit the lower portion of the ball from the inside, I want you to try and hit the upper hemisphere of the golf ball on the outside. Nobody is teaching that. That is the death knell for probably 75 to 80% of the golfers on the planet. It will create a huge downward strike with a big swoop and slice. Well, she also said, forget everything you know about the golf swing. Early extension, how your wrists are supposed to move, how your hips are supposed to be opening and your shoulders are supposed to be tilted. She said, there's only two things I want you to do. I want you to make your body move however it does to swing as fast as you possibly can at this point. And I want you to hit the upper outside corner of the golf ball. Well, I was at that point thinking, you know what, I'll try anything. It sounds completely counterintuitive, but even Ben Hogan himself said, golf is a game of opposites. Figure out what it is and do the opposite. So I was willing to try it, and I tried it, and within two shots, I felt something. And she goes, whoa, that's a lot faster. You're swinging faster. That's a lot more freewheeling. That's a faster swing. Do that again. And by the third shot, I was flushing it. It was a draw. It had height to it. It had plenty of height. And I beat my own personal ball speed record. Normally, when I'm swinging really well and I'm having a really good day, I can reach ball speeds of 140 miles an hour, which I know is nothing compared to the pros, or even, I would say normal, better than average golfers. But my ball speed was 140. Well, I reached 142. I reached 143. I think I hit 145 at one point during this, and I was getting an additional 15 to 20 yards, even though I was attempting to hit down on the golf ball with the driver. And from the outside, something just clicked. It just worked. And I want to share some of that here with you, some of the things that I did during that swing that I didn't plan on, but that I just became observant of toward the end of the lesson. Driver in my hand. Now, one thing she said is that this driver is probably not the correct driver for me. I am going to go through a fitting with her and see how that works out, the shaft and some of the setups in it. But, you know, maybe we'll try and dial this one in as best we can and then possibly change out the shaft for something else. But anyway, when I was setting up and I was trying to make these fast swings, I would come under or over with my elbow, and it was just getting off plane really bad. And so often I would try and fix coming over by tilting back so much. So it really brought me from the inside, much more inside to out, and I was hitting so much up on the golf ball. Now, I know what you're going to say. Well, that should encourage a big high draw and give you more distance. And if you're a slicer of the golf ball, that feel, or if you're hitting down on the golf ball, that feel is right for you most likely. However, for me, somebody who's already trying to hit from the inside and who's already trying to hit up, by trying to double down on that, it was causing the speed to go down. It was causing me to flip my wrists a lot at it through impact, rather than just allowing the club to swing through and square itself up and be a stable club head going through. Got to reset my device here. So what we did instead was she said, forget that early extension's bad. Forget about tilting your shoulders back. Forget about having your shoulder line correct. Forget about anything. She said, do whatever you have to do to make this club head make a swoosh sound even faster out there. And then the only other thing I want you to think about is instead of hitting from the inside of the golf ball and hitting up, I want you to think about hitting the outside of the golf ball and hitting down. So we tried it, and I stepped up and I said, I'm just not going to think about anything. I'm just going to think about making the fastest swing I possibly can. And that started to happen. These lower, more left, more hooky shots. That's kind of what started to happen. And I thought, well, this is not going to work. This is not going to work. This is just not going to do it. And I didn't give up. I didn't give up. I decided, nope, you know what? I said I was going to try it. I'm going to try everything. So let's go again. What do we got? We're going to try it one more time. And then I started to get that. High draw with some distance. Club head speed, they couldn't measure that, but the club head speed looked like it was a little up, 93 and a half. Ball speed, 137, 138. And I'm thinking, okay, I've seen those numbers before. I've seen them before. So I'm not freaking out just yet. And don't get me wrong, I'm not hitting 150 and 160 ball speed. I'm not hitting 275 yet. It's day one. It's important to remember that with anything you're doing, any swing changes, anything you're working on, it's going to take time. This stuff is not going to get fixed overnight. That's really high. I wasn't trying to swing up on it at all. That might actually pop up pretty high. But it's fairly straight and it's fairly solid contact. I was struggling really bad with contact. Now, after a while of swinging like this, several swings, instead of trying to create something, I started to be observant of what was happening. And what I started to feel, it felt to me, and your feels are going to be different, but I have this real bad problem of taking the club away under the plane. Coming in under, then lifting up here, and then throwing over like that, club and elbow all out of position. It felt like I was taking the club straight out here and lifting it with my left arm, almost acting like a Ferris wheel, straight up. And what that does is, because I'm in an inclined plane, I feel like I'm lifting my arm straight up. It's actually working on this inclined plane. So it's like this optical illusion. And then when I came down, I felt like I came straight down with my hands. And one of the things that she told me that the best players do is the butt of the club and the hands. You can draw a line. It's practically vertical between their body, their feet, and the golf ball. Their hands drop. I wasn't intending to do this. It was just something that kind of happened. And so I think what we found was something that's going to get me a really good training program to work on. It's another high bomb draw over the coming weeks to see just how much I can improve. Can I get the ball speed up? Can I get the club head speed up? Can I get the distance up? Let's see if I can give you one speedy one and then we'll wrap this up. I'll try my best to just let go and forget about it and swing as fast as possible. Draw right down the middle. Bet you that's faster than I was last week. Club head speed 96 miles an hour. That's at least 2 miles an hour faster than what I would consider to be kind of my top when I'm playing well. My swing speeds were 91 to 94 miles an hour. I've got to work on finding the center of the face. This is something new. Again, it's going to take time, but 96 miles an hour, it's only going to get better from there. I feel like for the first time in years, I can actually get to 100 miles an hour club head speed. And at some point, maybe in the next coming weeks or even months, that 100 miles an hour might feel like a pretty smooth, normal swing. Anyway, as I said, this may or may not help some of you if you don't have the same ailments that I have, if you're not starting from the same place that I am currently starting. However, if there are some similarities between what I'm doing and what I am and what I've been, between me and you, maybe give this a try. Reckless abandon, get rid of any preconceived swing thoughts and any positions that you're supposed to be in. Try some opposites. See you in the next video.